This is Three Friends and All the Things podcast, sponsored by Trees Company, located in Port Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Axe and Arrow Brewery, High Street, Glassboro, on Rowan's campus.
KMT Consulting Group, 900 Haddon Avenue in Collingswood. This is Three Friends and All the Things.
Disclaimer. Buckle up. This episode of Three Friends and All the Things is packed with foul language, inappropriate comments, and even some streaking. If that's your jam, then welcome to the circus. Let the shenanigans begin.
So, tell me a time when you guys lied and you just elaborated on it and it just went totally out of control.
I took acting classes. All right. I've got that shit locked down. I have never been. No, that's not true. I've been caught out. I've definitely been caught out. Although I can't remember a specific time. I would assume it was to my parents. Oh, my best friend. Oh, I got one. So we were coming home very, very late from somewhere that we absolutely should not have been. And Mom was waiting for us in the front hallway. And where were you? Toe tapping, touching the watch. And I spun this beauty of a lie.
The watch that wasn't on her wrist.
My best friend. Yeah. The problem was my best friend, whenever she would get nervous, she'd go bright red, a flush up her chest and neck. So I had this beautiful story. So Mom looked at my friend and she just whoosh, bright red, and the jig was up. I was caught out, definitely, on my beauty.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
I took out my grandmother's car one time. We went spotting deer. And one of the buddies I had in my car with me decided to flash the high beam into a pickup truck as it was going by. So needless to say, it was just me and three not so built and capable of fighting their way out of a paper bag in a car. And there was a truck full of guys who chased me in my car. And I drove through a backyard trying to get away. And I hit a stump. The stump hit the radiator and dented the radiator in. So I had to call my brother. My brother never drove before. He didn't have his license yet. So he jumps in my mom's car, comes.
Of course, that's who you'd call.
Yeah, and I pushed my car to a friend's house and left it out front. So he comes and gets me, takes me home. So the next morning, I tell my mom, like, "Yo, you can't tell Dad that I hit our grandmother's car in a stump. You got to tell him I hit a deer with it." She's like, "Well, you're going to tell him. I'm not telling him." I'm like, "All right, I'll tell him." So he comes in. So I said, "We got to go get grandma's car." What happened to grandma's car? So I ran into a deer. It was coming across the road, and I hit it. He goes, "All right." He goes, "What happened?" I said, "Damaged the radiator bumper. I'll get the junkyard. I'll fix it myself." All right. So get the car home. He's looking at the car. He goes, "Dave, let me ask you a question." I'm like, "What's that?" He goes, "Does the deer carry a tree with him?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "There's a piece of stump sticking in the middle of the radiator. I'd like to know how the stump deflected the deer." How did you hit a deer and get a stump stuck in your grill? I was like, "Oh, wow."
Sticking out of it.
I was like, yeah, I got nothing. I had nothing. He's like,
man.
"Yeah, I think we need to have another conversation. How you ain't driving for a while."
Right.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, God.
Chris?
Yeah.
Do you lie?
Well, I used to get out of trouble, but yeah, I don't anymore. There was one night I was out with my friends from college. We were out on South Street down on Who's on Third. Do you guys remember Who's on Third on South Street? Right off of South Street?
Yeah, it's right next to What's on Second and who was on first.
You're an idiot. Anyway, we decided we were going to go to Who's on Third, right? And so we parked in a parking garage, like, I guess like a block away, right? Because, you're not parking on the street anywhere, right? So we go in and we're there for hours and we're just throwing them back, having a good time. And when I say shit faced was I walking out. And one of my friends gave my car keys to one of my more responsible friends and said, make sure that they get home. Okay, no problem. The second we walk out of the bar, I'm like, give me the effing keys. You're not driving my car. So, idiot hands me the keys, right? So we get out of the parking garage, with a couple of little, minor incidents like, how do I get the arm to go up to get out of the parking garage? That took like 10 minutes to figure out. On the way home, I made a wrong turn. And so my friend said, oh, make a U-turn. I remember it like it was yesterday, clear as day. Here? Yeah. Right here? Yeah. And so you know how they have the concrete median? It looks like you could drive up it. It goes flat and then it goes back down. Yeah, you can't do that. So I just take the wheel. Instead of going like another, 30 feet to the light, I turn the wheel, boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. And I was like, okay, we made it. And then I hear, I'm like, oh my God, we have a flat tire. So we had to pull over in some parking lot. We had to call a tow truck. The tow truck came. He had no jack after we told him we had a flat tire and needed a tire change. We all fell asleep in the car. They finally came, put a new tire in the car. It was the donut, right? I drive home. I drop my friends off. I got home at like 4:00 in the morning and I told my dad that I hit a pothole in Philly because it was pouring rain and I couldn't see. Okay. None of that happened. There was no rain.
This is not a stretch. Yeah.
Right? No rain, no pothole, right? And then, so the next day, he decides to take my car and he's going to go get a new tire put on for me. And he goes, what kind of pothole did you hit last night? Because this thing, your tire is like shredded. You bent the rim. He's like, it's almost like you hit something. And my face just went, Yeah, I don't know. I hit a pothole, Dad. And then it spiraled out of control. He wanted to like write a letter and sue the city of Philadelphia because of the potholes and how much damage it did to my car. No, it was because I was drunk and I was being an idiot and I drove over a median that you shouldn't be driving over. And to this day, I think the poor man went to his grave because I think I convinced him that I actually hit a pothole, and I think he went to his grave actually thinking I hit a pothole. But then again, maybe not.
I love that.
Yeah.
Welcome to Three Friends and All the Things podcast, a place where filters don't exist, opinions fly fast, and nothing is off limits. We're not solving the world's problems, we're barely solving our own. But we'll make you laugh, think a little, and question everything you thought you knew, even though we know nothing. This is Three Friends and All the Things podcast. Real talk, real people, zero apologies.
I don't care.
Just land the plane.
Not today. All right, this is Three Friends and All the Things podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. Tonight we're going to be talking about first dates. The good, the bad, the ugly. Let's start with the ugly. Get that out of the way.
I go
Dave?
first.
Yeah.
Right after I got divorced, I went out on a date. First one, and a buddy of mine's sister-in-law. She was single, I was single. So they're like, all right, we'll see if we can put it together. I'm like, okay. So I reached out several times. She didn't show any interest. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she showed interest. So we made a date to go out to dinner. Get to dinner. And I'm like, it's hot out. So I dressed what I thought would be accordingly. I had a long sleeve shirt on, but we were inside. It was kind of air conditioned, chilly side. Figured I'd be fine. Under the, there was a light kind of low. So I sat back so I wouldn't, be sweating my, what's off. And it started out good. And then it got to, what is your 5-year plan? I'm like,
What?
are we really going with a 5-year plan here? This is where
Is this
the
a date
question
or a
and
job
answer-
interview?
That's what I said. I'm like,
Jesus
5-year plan.
H.
Okay. So,
Oy.
so we got into the 5-year plan. Let me tell you, I don't remember the actual list of questions that I was asked, but I'm going to tell you, I felt like I was in front of a judge. And, when
She
they're
put
asking
out a
these,
PowerPoint.
dude, let me tell you, the questions were so intense that I was sweating.
Was it like Judge Judy?
Dude, it was rolling off my forehead. It was so bad I had to go to the
Chris,
bathroom.
you
I was
know
like, I gotta
she
go to the
tipped that light over the table
Yeah.
towards his
Yeah.
face, right?
Yeah,
Holy
I
cow.
picture Dave sitting in a booth with the light bulb swinging, you
Dude,
know?
it was
Yeah.
so bad. I was like, holy crap, I can't believe she's asking me these questions. And it's like, well, so how many kids you have? I have 4. And she had 3. So it wasn't like I had too many kids for there to be an interest rate. She had 3, I had 4, we had 7. They would have like the Brady Bunch. But anyway,
Hello, Brie. Yeah.
I went to the bathroom. I had to take my shirt off and air it out in the hand dryer because it was soaking wet. I'm in there like this in front of the hand dryer trying to dry it out.
He
And
had
in
a
the
hot
same
flash going through menopause.
dude, I'm telling you, I was patting myself down. It was so bad. I had paper towels everywhere.
Oh my
It's
God.
like instant combustion.
See him
I
with the
come
little
out-
boob sweat
All I
marks.
kept saying to myself was, this is not going anywhere. If it does, I will be shocked. If she doesn't end it, I will. Because I cannot. If she does this and we're not even together, holy crap, what's it going to be like if we are? There's going to be 20
Mm.
questions every day. I can't do it.
Oh my God.
So I called my
Chris,
buddy.
what's
after it
your
was over.
worst first?
Every guy I ever dated. No, just kidding. No. I went out on a date many years ago, like before I was married. I went out with a friend of my friend's boyfriend. I don't even remember the guy's name. Like, this is how significant he was. And he wanted to come in at the end of the night, and I had no interest. I was like, nope, not going to happen, blah, 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 blah. Right. And so I'm thinking, well, how do I like make it clear that you're not coming in? And so finally I was just like, look, I got to go to bed. I got to work tomorrow, blah, 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 whatever. And so finally he got the hint and he left. And then he went and told everybody who would listen that I ordered too much food. It's not like you took me out for freaking caviar. Okay. I ordered too much food. I had an appetizer and I think like a bowl of soup or something. Right. And he told everybody, oh, she ordered too much food. I'm not going to
glutton.
take her out again. Yeah. And so my girlfriend was like, what happened? What happened? She's like, because I heard you order too much food. I said, too much food. I said, he's just mad because I didn't invite him in at the end of the night. I said, I had no interest in this guy. And that was that. And I I don't know his name. Never heard from
That's
him
your
again.
worst first.
That's
your
look, I
actual
never,
worst first date.
yeah, I never really had any like catastrophic, first dates or anything like,
Listen,
it's not,
My
you know-
worst first date. I went to a ball, and I was left at the ball.
Like left at the altar.
Cinderella, man.
Telling you,
Did you leave a slipper behind?
he left me at the ball, and I didn't know anyone.
So where did he
Yeah.
go? Where did he go?
What?
He went to the
That's
Hooters
the
down the
point.
Did he
street.
leave with another
Left.
girl? Did he leave with another
I
girl?
don't know.
Like, what?
I was
Oh
at
my
the
God.
table with strangers. He got up. 2 hours later, I was still sitting at the table with strangers, and he was
Oh my-
nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found. Oh my goodness. That's
Yes.
crazy.
Nowhere to be
That is-
found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes. I got left at a ball. And it was a ball. It wasn't like a first date. It wasn't like a restaurant or we met at the bar. It was a ball.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
So you were Cinderella.
Yeah.
yeah. She was
Okay.
totally Cinderella.
So, Cinderella. Speaking of dinner dates,
Mhm.
good thing, bad thing of the past.
Nah.
Okay.
I
So
still-
here's
I
my
still
take
think
on it.
it's good.
I think that when you meet someone online and you
Mhm.
expect this formal dinner as a first date, I don't know that that's going to work. Like when 20 years, 30 years ago, when I was going out on first dates, it
Mhm.
was more that you met someone through friends or at the bar or wherever, and you had a connection,
Mhm.
made a plan to go out on a date, and it was a formal date. I don't know how you meet someone online and expect that same outcome that you would when you met someone face to face before. Do you know? I think that's maybe why dinner dates don't really work. And we've moved into coffee dates and meeting someone for a drink first before going that step.
Yeah.
Ah,
I can, I can.
I
I
went-
can
What do you guys
totally,
think?
I
Yeah,
went on dinner dates. I went on 3 of them. I'll tell you why, and I'll let you respond.
How'd
Chris.
that
I'm
work
sorry.
out for you, Dave?
those 3 dinner dates that I went on weren't bad. I actually thought it was a lot better than trying to, like, one, go to a movie or something like where you actually if you go to a dinner, you go out to it doesn't have to be, like, extravagant, Applebee's, Capital, whatever you decide to do.
There's a big
It's a
difference
lot
between Applebee's and Capital Grill, let me tell you.
Capital Grill, right? So your more formal would be Capital Grill, but if you went to Applebee's, I think most of those places are a lot quieter to talk. You can
Yeah.
actually communicate and kind of feel out the person a little bit better
Yeah.
than going to a movie where you're constantly just watching the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're
and
not,
movie's not a first date
yeah,
move.
that's for teenagers. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
for me, dinner dating was good because you get more time to talk. I don't know. That's how I see it. But
Yeah. I
What about
mean,
you, Chris?
um, I know, like, after I got divorced, I went out on a couple dates and it was basically like, oh, why don't we meet at this restaurant? We'll have a couple drinks type of thing. You're in a public place, you could still talk, and then if things don't work out, you can just, make your exit strategy and go. And if they do work out, then you can make a plan like, hey, you know what? Let's go grab something to eat. Or, hey, why don't we go and do this instead of sitting in a bar all day? Like you can make it what you want to make it. I think going out to dinner itself, it does work for some people. But then, like in Dave's situation, are you going to be grilled? Are you going to be questioned? Like, does the person want to know your whole life story? And that brings a whole
Do
nother
you leave
topic.
mid entree?
Right. What if it
you run
doesn't
into
work
the
out?
bathroom and you pat yourself down.
Yeah, you pat yourself down, or you try to escape out the window, or you call your friend and say, "Call me in 5 minutes with a massive emergency," and make sure you cry to make sure. Like,
You
I think
instigate emergency protocol.
Boy,
correct.
you girls go above and beyond.
Oh,
The
we
boys
totally
don't do
do.
that.
We totally do. Although I have never,
Listen, go ahead.
I have never pulled the emergency friend thing. I've never done that. No, I would just be like, all right, look,
So
I gotta
on
go
these
and
first
exit.
on these first dinner dates, do you expect the guy to pay? Do you go Dutch? Is expecting the man to pay old fashioned?
No, because I did. I paid.
No.
No,
You
I
paid
think
more
it's-
ways than one.
Honestly, I think
You
it's
paid in sweat and tears, literally.
Yes, I did. I got
Paid for
that was a
dinner,
bad
he
one.
paid for a new
But
shirt.
I'll tell you what I did learn about that, because I'm old fashioned, so I always paid regardless of where the date went. I didn't care about that. But I do remember one thing that women in our age groups today with online dating,
Mhm.
because I did the online dating too,
Mhm.
they just want to be told up front. If it's not going to work, just say it's not going to work. Don't
Mhm.
drag it out. Like I seen, like, it was a whole different perspective for me when somebody told me, like, listen, this is not a thing where I'm going to be mad at you. If you don't feel the connection, you don't feel the connection. This is what it's about.
Mhm.
Because I told them I'm
Right.
new to the online dating. I really don't know how this is supposed to go. So I'm gonna do my best with it. And they're like, well, and I was schooled by somebody who'd been doing it for a while, but they're like,
Mhm.
if you don't feel the connection, you don't feel the connection. It is what it is. You just be upfront and honest about it and don't drag it out. So it made it easy.
I think that women who expect to have their dinner paid for, I think that's a red flag. You should go in assuming it's going to be Dutch, and then
Mhm.
if he insists, okay, you can work it out there. But I think going in on a first date and expecting to have your meal covered, I think that's a bit of a red flag. I think that screams high maintenance.
Yep.
You're going to be
Yeah.
buying me some Birkins in the future.
Yeah, I think in this day and age, I think a lot of
Tiffany's.
females want to feel like they are independent, right? And so I think a lot of them that go out on a first date, I think they are prepared to pay their own way. Now, sometimes the guy will offer and say, look, I'd really like to, pick up the bill or whatever. Some women feel uncomfortable with that. Other women are like, oh, all right, whatever. And then, in some cases it was like, okay, well, I'll tell you what, why don't we go get something to eat and I'll pay for the food since you paid for like drinks at a bar, like whatever. And some guys are okay with that. And other
Mhm.
guys are like, no, I asked you out. I'm prepared to pay, and sometimes I think you need, as a female, I think you need to just let them do it because that's their way and they might feel rejected. Dave, would you feel like weird if you and Jen went out like while you were dating and then like she insisted on paying for her share? Like, would you
In the
feel
very
weird about
beginning,
that?
in the very beginning, I did, but then she made it very known to me, like we split everything. Even now, we're married. Like there'll be weeks where, like if we go out to dinner, like we try not to go out to dinner too much, but if we go out twice a week,
Hmm.
every other week I'll pay, and then every
Okay.
other week she pays. So it's not
Okay.
one of us constantly paying. I had to get used to that ideal,
Hmm.
but that's just the way she was.
Yeah.
And if I offer to pay even on her week, she doesn't care. We don't sit there and go, "What's your turn? It's his turn." We don't do all that.
Right.
It's just it is what it is. But I think dating is a little more. I think it's more. It's. I think it's more overly complicated now than it's ever been because of the fact that I feel like there's more. There's more people dating in all different age groups versus when we were younger. It
Hmm.
was just our age group. You didn't hear of the adults. There wasn't a lot of, at least that I ever heard of, wasn't a lot of divorce going on where the older folks were out dating. They were
Right.
more homebound to their children and taking care of the family, and they weren't out.
Hmm.
There's just way more age groups mixing and things getting complicated, and it's just you kind of got to adapt as you go, I guess.
It's also gotten more dangerous. So, one of the questions that we talked about earlier is vetting, right? Vetting your future dates.
Huh.
Good thing, bad thing. In my opinion, I think for women it's an absolute requirement. I think for men it's probably a good idea, but for women it's a requirement. You need to know what you're walking into, or you're going to end up in the well holding Precious hostage.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because I went out on a I went out on a date and I met the guy at a bar and everything was fine. And then I started joking around about like, oh, it's a good thing you're good looking because, you could be a serial killer. Oh, why would you think I'm a serial killer? Well, you know what? You know who else was good looking? Ted Bundy. He was also good looking, right? And look what
He
he
was
did, right? And
charming
so
too.
then it became this conversation and it became funny. And then it was like, if anyone around us, because we're in a public place, we're sitting, we're at a little bar table, but there was like a lot of people around. And I'm thinking, if anybody overhears this conversation, they're going to be like, what the hell are the two of them talking about? So then it was like, okay, we had a couple drinks and then it was like, oh, why don't you come back to my house? And I'm like,
Did he touch you
uh,
inappropriately?
no, he did not. And oh,
He
all
wanted the
right.
copophilia.
Right. So then I'm thinking, all right, well, I'm taking my own car, right?
He
Taking my own
He
car
said,
because,
okay.
yeah, right. He's like, you want to come out? I don't know you, but you want to come back to my house? Yeah, sure. Okay. Because you know what? It's kind of like if Ted Bundy pulled up in the white child abducting van with a bunch of puppies, my dumbass would go, right? Well, again, there were no puppies
Yeah,
involved,
it's
but my
puppies.
dumbass went,
Run away
right?
from the white van.
Right. So anyway, so in my thinking, I'm like, well, I'll take my own car because then I can leave. Right. So we're driving and
Be safe.
he lived like 35 minutes and we're driving and driving. And I'm thinking, where is he taking me? And it's getting more wooded and it's getting like denser. And
Did you
we're
hear
moving
the
at
banjos?
yes, I did. And I'm thinking, what is going on? And I get to the house and I get out of the car and he's like, you're probably thinking like, where the hell is he taking me? Right. And I'm like, yeah. Right. And so then it became like
That's
an
my
He's like,
mother in the
yeah.
window.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
baby.
now,
Yeah.
yeah, there's mother like in the window. Yeah. And so it ended up, everything was fine. Everything was fine. But because he lived out like so far out, I was like, do you have a well?
She didn't
And
get
like,
tossed in a well.
right. I was
No,
like,
he
do you
got
have a
out of the
well?
car and went streaking across the woods.
Seriously, right? Do I have to run for my life? Like, what's going to happen? And so
He's holding a
I'm
gun.
like,
No, it's just PP.
yeah. So here I am, like, half, like 2, 3
my
sheets
God.
to the wind, right? Driving out in the middle of freaking nowhere to some random guy who I met online, right? No less. And we get all the way out there and I'm thinking, here's where I die. Here's where I die. And everything ended up being like a lot of fun. But now, like, and I still talk to him and we have an inside joke about, hey, have you killed anybody? Are you going to like put them in the well? You know, and he's like, I might bury them in my garden. It's this whole like big inside joke. But it's funny that you mentioned that
How's
because like,
precious?
yeah, how's precious. But safety really is like a big thing for women. And like, you have to be super careful, but like, don't drink and then decide to go to a strange guy's house like I did. Take it from me, kids. Don't do what I did, right? But I live to tell about it, so it's all good. But
Listen, that was dangerous enough when we were in our 20s.
Yeah,
let
it
alone
really
this
was.
day and age.
But you know what's
No,
funny? What I found
definitely
out
not now. Definitely not now.
when I met Jennifer, we went out on our first date, like probably a month after our first date. We were just having a casual conversation. And she says, you know, when I first talked to you online and then we had a phone conversation, she said, I Googled you. I said, you Googled me? I said, you find anything interesting? I said, like, did I have a sex change or?
She's like, I know your credit score. I know
Yeah.
your childhood address.
She knew that I had a speeding ticket in Virginia. She's like, I knew
My
you got
God.
a speeding ticket in Virginia. I started laughing like, who does that? She goes, listen, I have a daughter. I don't trust anybody. She
Yeah.
goes, and then after I thought about it, after a while, now I can see why people do it. You know what I mean? You have to these days and age, you got to do it.
In this
Yeah.
day and age, absolutely. Absolutely. So on your first dates, and again, I haven't been on a first date since 2001, so this is all hypothetical
Holy
for
shit,
me.
that's a long time, man.
It's a long time. The game has changed so much.
Don't hold back.
What-
Don't hold back.
What do you talk about? Because everything is a trigger now, right? Everything is
Yeah,
a
especially if you've been
drama.
married
You
and
can't
divorced.
talk politics, you can't talk religion, you can't talk finances, you can't. So what do you talk about? Sports?
Serial killers. And are you going to kill me and
Precious?
throw me in the well? Precious.
No,
what I
actually,
talked
I
about.
guess I don't know. I found my conversations going like towards what your family life is like. Like, you know, if you were divorced, what that type of relationship was prior to this one. I guess you get a feel of
Hold on,
what
Dave,
sets you
were
off.
you doing like broad strokes or a trauma dump?
What do you mean? What do you mean, my
Like
stories?
I was married and divorced, or I was married and let me tell you about that bitch.
Well,
Wiping the
I don't know.
eye.
I found myself honestly, as if we had a second date, I usually got into that conversation, and I would let the woman kind of dictate conversation just to see where it would go because I didn't like to want to force feed anything. But I
Mhm.
always like we got in most of my conversations talked about online dating and dates that we went on, and how like some were crazy and others were funny, and to see like certain people that you get on there, and you're like, after you had a date with them, you're like, oh, now I can see why they're still on here. They're a little crazy. You know what I mean? Like I had one time, this lady says to me,
I'm sorry.
we
So
get-
you went on first dates talking about your other first dates.
yeah, experience online dating is the best conversation ever.
Damn. Isn't
You
that
sit-
called negging? Isn't that a thing that guys do, negging?
No, because
Offering
most of the
negative,
time the women would
backhanded
bring it up. How many
compliments or
online dates
something?
did you have? Couple. What were they like?
Yeah.
And then you would hear that tone and be like, it's heaven calling me.
I have a date.
And the gates just opened up. Let me in, Flynn. Let me
Little
in.
did you know our podcast would become my hunting grounds.
My
Come here,
God.
precious, you little shit.
Here, baby girl.
God love that dog.
Chris, what did you talk about on your first dates?
Just
Other than
whatever.
Precious and the Well.
Yeah, other than Precious in the Well. If there was like a sporting event on TV, then it would be like, hey, like, do you follow this game? You know, are you a big fan of this sport? If you are, like, what team do you follow? Oh, I follow rugby. Okay, well, that's kind of like football. Oh, yeah, I don't understand football. So then the conversation would just kind of like develop. And then it would be like, hey, like, what do you do for work? And, just your basic, whatever. But the question I have is, what becomes too much too soon when you're having a discussion on a first date? What do you talk
Trauma
about?
dumping.
Right. And
Yeah.
so in my experience, it was I've always had like a pretty positive experience. I can't really say that, anything was too negative or too uncomfortable.
Yeah. Listen,
You know,
Braggy McBragger pants over here. My worst first date.
Gang McBaggy pants.
Braggy
bragging
McBragger pants.
bragging pants.
Oh my god.
Some
What happened there, Kyle?
Okay. So nothing happened at all.
Just gonna
Oh,
take long
sure.
because I got tomorrow.
Oh my God.
So the date goes bad. The date goes bad. Do you tell them the date goes bad? Do you run away and never talk to them again? Do you do the ghosting thing? Do you get
Ne-
upset if you get ghosted?
Well, I'd get pissed if I got ghosted.
I never
Pissed.
got
Because I'd
ghosted.
be like,
you wouldn't just let it go?
no, not if I really like the person. And I was like, what is going on here?
Right.
What I did go out. I did go out on a couple days with a guy. He would constantly call, oh, what's going on? Because I was like, I'm new to all this after my divorce. I haven't done this in years, and whatever. And so I just kind of like took a step back and I thought, I'll let him take the lead. And so he would ask me to, go out and do things. And I'm like, okay. And then we'd make a plan and, we talk a couple times during the week. And then he turned around one day and just like completely ghosted me. And I'm like, what? Okay, that's weird. Maybe something happened. So I just kind of let it go, whatever. And then I think I called and left a message and just said, hey, just checking to see if everything's okay. I haven't heard from you, blah, 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 blah. And then he came back with this stupid thing saying, oh, you're
Mother
too
wouldn't let me
serious.
use the phone.
Yeah, right. Oh, you're too serious. You're clearly looking for a relationship. I don't know what that was, Dave, but please don't ever do that again because that was creepy.
Yeah.
But he like totally spun the whole thing. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, you have been calling me, you have been asking me out, and now you're the one telling me that I'm the one that's too serious. And I got ghosted, and I was just like, dude, why didn't you just tell me that from the start? Like, if this is how you felt, why didn't you just say it? Don't ghost me, don't lie about it, whatever. I think if it's not working out, just be honest about it. I don't like the ghosting thing anyway. Like, I just think that whole thing is
Honestly-
just stupid, and I think it's
honestly,
ignorant.
I think that if you go out with someone, and again, this is hypothetical on my part, but if you go out with someone and they don't call you over the next week, then, well,
Exactly.
Time to
all
move
right,
on.
move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
never,
when the-
I
when
never
the
really got
person-
ghosted. I just was explained on the first one I went on was like just to be upfront and honest and say, look, there's no connection, move on.
Mhm.
And I found out that was easier versus ghosting because with ghosting, I don't know. I feel like it's added stress. You know what I mean? It feels like you're doing something wrong. So it adds stress. I think it adds stress to just being done
Yeah,
with it.
because
But-
if you
But
ghost
do you
somebody,
guys,
if,
but do
if
you
you
guys
ghost
find,
somebody,
like-
are they going to stalk you? Are they going to call you
What-
from like 10 different numbers? Are you
well,
like,
that's
oh
the
my
other
God,
thing.
who
That's
would-"
when you got
you
to
know?
block them and move on. Like I'd be like,
Mhm.
block. Like, do you guys
Mhm.
have,
Yeah.
let me ask you this. When you guys go out on dates, is there pet peeves that you don't like? Like, is there things that a guy would set you off? Because I got things that would set me off about a woman, but is there something that would set you guys off
Well,
about
back in the
a man?
1900s when I was
Right.
dating,
Yeah,
See?
yeah. Four scored,
She loves pushing it. She loves
Yeah.
pushing that button,
yeah,
boy.
40 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
My biggest pet peeve was I'm not paying for you. Like, we're gonna go Dutch, or you're gonna pay, but I'm not covering your dinner. Thank you very much.
Mm.
Okay. What about you, Chris?
That was my biggest pet peeve.
I think just, showing off and showing off and being rude to anybody in a restaurant, a bar, or anybody in general. Like, even if you go to like a club and there's bouncers out there, somebody getting like smart ass trying to impress a girl or trying to impress a guy or just their group of friends, just being disrespectful. I don't, no, because if that's how you're going to treat people working in a restaurant, or, anywhere whatsoever, then yeah, that's a big turn off for me. That's a non-negotiable. You're rude to wait staff. You're done. That's it.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
my
I
my
agree.
pet peeve was like, because I'm short, I would tell no high heels.
Uh-huh.
And then I went on a date and I had to pick this girl up. I get there. I'm outside. I said, "You want me to come to the door?" She said, "Nope, I'm walking out right now. I'll be right there." I'm like, "Okay." She goes, "Walk across the parking lot." She's got stiletto heels on. So I'm like,
Jesus.
"You already broke the Christian rule. You don't wear heels with me. I can't
Christian
come.
rule.
You're killing me. Don't do it." So we get there. I'm like, "All right, okay, give it a second chance." We get to the restaurant. Now I find myself walking up on the curb so I can look her in the face to talk to her.
Mm.
We get home. She invites
Oh,
me
yeah.
in. We're having a glass of wine. And the next thing I know, she's crying about a guy who just left her. Like, you're
Oh
telling
my
me
God.
you're not ready for me yet. What are you, nuts? Get away from me. What the
Definitely
hell?
no. Definitely no.
Should have took the
Definitely
stiletto
no.
heels as a sign. Should have went any
Well, yeah.
further.
You're lucky she didn't impale you
Well,
in the eye with it.
if you made that clear,
I
if
did.
you made that clear before you went
did.
out and she ignored it, that's red flags all over the
Yeah,
place.
that's like, I was like, what are we doing here, man? Like, we didn't even get
Mhm.
out on the date yet. And you've already broke the cardinal rule with the high heels. I'm 3 foot tall, for God's sakes. How am I going to give you a kiss goodnight if I got to stand on a ladder?
I
Embarrassing.
know.
My God, I just had
Terrible.
the
How about you gotta
Munchkin
bend
theme
over?
song go
You know
through
what I
my
mean?
head.
We represent
are
the Lollipop Guild. The Lollipop Guild. We wish to welcome you to Munchkin
My God.
Land.
You know my
And there's
mom's a
Dave with
dwarf
his
and my
little
daddy's a
stencil.
midget. Give me a break. You're wearing stiletto heels. Stupid.
All righty. So, sponsors. KMT Consulting, 900 Haddon Ave, Collingswood, New Jersey. Chris?
Axe and Arrow Brewery,
Dave?
High Street, Glassboro on Groen's campus.
And Trees Company out of Port Elizabeth, New Jersey. Thank you for tuning in to another ridiculous episode of Three Friends and All the Things with Colleen, Dave, and Chris. Thank you for
Ridiculous.
tuning in.
So sideways.
What? What? Oh my God. You look like a bobblehead.
Go Flyboys.
Oh my God. Thank you
gonna
for
beat
tuning
them
It's his
Penguins.
in.
Munchkin dance.
Thank you for
tonight.
tuning into the Animosity once again. And until next time, stay safe, keep it real, remember who you are. We wish to welcome.
Thanks for listening to the show. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. See you next time on Three Friends and All the Things podcast. Real talk, real people. New episodes drop every week, so hit follow, leave a review, and tell your messiest friend to listen too. You know the one I'm talking about. Until next time, keep it real, keep it loud, and keep doing all the things.